Hello and welcome to this short preview of patch 3 in Total War Attila, ignoring any hotfixes or smaller patches. This is mainly balancing we're going to be talking about. I'm not going to be talking about performance or anything like that. I'm just going to be talking about balancing changes to the game. Now, it seems like the Creative Assembly want to do something with the total dominance of the heavier cavalry units on the field, and something they've done is that they've increased the holding power of spearmen against cavalry. Now, by how much remains to be seen. Remains to be seen with testing, but I have a feeling it's not going to be major enough that it warrants bringing spearmen. You still have these your standard Germanic spear units with their 30 bonus against large, which they got in a previous patch, and you still have sort of the low tier Germanic levy type units that now have a lower. They have a 20 bonus that's lower than the elite level spear units, and also the melee defense is increased slightly. And in terms of fatigue, the fatigue has been rebalanced. And this is ironic as hell. So fatigue has been rebalanced so that it allows for more offensive gameplay. The reason why I think that's funny, and the reason why you two probably find that a bit funny, is because Attila has never been a slow game. It's a very offensive, very fast game, but needs to be said, it does penalize the attacking party a bit because it fatigues units. Attacking and moving around fatigues units, so if you move around too much, maneuver too much while your opponent just responds, you risk fatiguing your men, and that they're less effective in close combat. So it says that melee attack should scale better, and we'll see just how that plays out. Now, very light cavalry has gotten a hit point increase, and let's have a look at the Huns, because they have quite a lot of light cavalry. So for the Huns, we have, for example, the step-mounted tribes people now rocking 203 health. Then we have the light cavalry, the step-mounted brigands. Still, they only have 188 hit points here. Shamans just over 200, and step raiders 192. So heavy cavalry hit points has been unchanged. They were sturdy enough. Heavy and very heavy cavalry, and medium cavalry hit points has been increased from 105 to 125. So if we, for example, look at our formerly beloved Germanic horsemen, 237 health, still nowhere near the level they were at. And this is very important, and something that me and magical Walrus or Walrus Jones requested, and other people have requested it as well, a change in cavalry charge speeds, so that heavy cavalry will have a harder time catching light cavalry. And just how that plays out we'll have a look at in another video, because I'm going to be doing separate tests of all of this. And to sort of implement this, cavalry mass has been readjusted. So presumably that means that since heavier cavalry has gotten a reduction in charge speed, and since impact damage is the multiplication of speed and mass, then that presumably means that the mass of heavier cavalry units has been increased. And how that plays out against other cavalry will be interesting to see. So Royal Lancer cost has been decreased, and that must be for... I don't really care about that. Increased. Burgundian Royal Lancer cost increased. Sword and Axe Cavalry cost decreased by 20 to 30. Not a huge balancing change that, but one of the factions it affects the most, in my opinion, will be the Celtic factions, where your Mormire cavalry now is cheaper than it was, and you can bring additional additional units for the price. Now, there isn't a lot of good sword and axe cavalry to go around for other factions, and the cavalry that is there is just underperforms compared to your standard spear cavalry, like these elite Agathosai cavalry. And for the Huns we also have some melee cavalry without bonuses. Let's see, Hunnic mounted warband, and let's see, Hunnic horsemen. I believe they have axes. Yep, they do. So, for infantry, one-handed axes have been given a slight boost to their bonus against infantry, and if that slight boost is enough to help them combat sword infantry, which they previously got slaughtered by, we will see. Will be interesting to test that. And spear units are given a boost to their melee defense. The weight of 200 units with heavier armor have been made heavy. So, for example, if we look at the Jutes here, these Nordic axe warriors are light axe infantry, whereas the Huskarls are heavy, which means more that they should be better able to stand up to. They will move a bit. They should be better be able to stand up to charges a bit. Still get murdered by cavalry, but they will also be a bit slower. So it will be harder for them to catch skirmishers and other fast units, which is a good idea. And now for let's see here, the Uar warriors have gotten a reduction of 10 in their melee attack, so a further reduction of the Uar warriors' overpoweredness. Still, they are swinging with 62 melee attack because of their 10 bonus against infantry, so quite enough. Now, mounted javelin units have Parthian shot, and that is very good for the utility of these units, because they are still in a price range where their price alone is prohibitive. So, for example, if we look at the Danes here, and we have skirmish cavalry, yeah, Nordic raiders with, I mean, 750 for what you get there, 15 armor, 192 health. It's just an insane price, and the same can be said for the other skirmish cavalry. If you look at some of the Germanic skirmish cavalry, for example, the Germanic mounted brigands, they are still so expensive. I mean, consider that you're paying for Germanic mounted brigands, you are paying 175 more than for Alani horsemen. It's hard to justify the price of those units. If they were a bit cheaper, yes, but they are so fragile, but they have slightly more utility now, slightly more. And increased bracing bonus on formations is an interesting one. Also, an interesting change is the increase in bonus against cavalry on lances. Now, of course, this is you see me bringing up the encyclopedia now and again, and that is just to check if they've made the changes in the encyclopedia as well. But so far they haven't, so you cannot trust the encyclopedia on this. So those are the main changes, and exactly how this plays out, the exact changes, I will come back to that with more in-depth videos, but this is just to give a sort of a short preview and an overview of the changes and some of their implications. Now, archers, elite bows, have also gotten an increase in damage. So you see now all of these bows, the 49 missile damage. So the Royal Persian archers, 49 missile damage. However, King of the Hill, when it comes to archers, still the elite Germanics with now 53 and a massive 14 armor piercing damage. So quite substantial. And then you get to the Germanic archers with their 49, and Germanic hunters and such now have 38. So a reduction there. They are still cheap, and it's still worth bringing them, I think, as a cheap skirmish screen. So the Sassanids once again sort of got shafted a bit, because their elite archers are the most expensive archers in the game, and they are underperforming both in range and in damage, which of course is a problem. You're never going to... And if we look at the Persian bows as well, for the price of, let's say you want to bring 4 Persian bows. What that costs you is 960. And if you're a Germanic faction and you want to spend 960, you can bring 6 Germanic bows. And then you have 360 left to spend on whatever might strike your fancy. You can spend those on extra funds for better infantry, extra funds for better cavalry, or a dog unit if you're feeling particularly crazy. But the point is that as the Sassanids should be good skirmishers, should be able to perform skirmish warfare effectively. However, they are not able to do so. Their special units are crap, and the redeeming factor with the Sassanids will be the counterfracts. But of course, they are often countered by skirmishers and have their charges blocked and such. So overall, it will be interesting to see if we get a more dynamic cavalry play now in patch 1.3. It's just too bad. It's too bad that this patch comes out. Let's see, Attila, did it come out in February or something like? I don't remember exactly when it came out, but it's been out for a few months, and a lot of people have already grown tired with it, grown tired with the state of the game competitively, and a lot of these changes are, in my opinion, changes that should have been made much earlier. They could have made for a more dynamic competitive scene in Attila, and it remains to be seen how this affects things, if indeed it affects things at all. I don't think it will affect the most important parts of the game in terms of skirmish, melee, and cavalry, but we will see. It does remain. It does remain to be seen how the players cope with these changes and how they're able to creatively implement them into their game plans. So I'm kind of looking forward to see that, actually. So I will be testing these things separately, these changes, to see how to give more accurate an accurate representation of how the changes are. How the changes will affect one-on-one engagements, and how they might change tactics and strategies and so on. Strength and honor.